This is my second post to this subreddit. It happened to me and the man I was dating back in the late spring of 2000. I am an avid and experienced urban explorer. I have visited many different abandoned sites. This place I'm writing about has been explored several times by others since, but when I visited, it wasn't a common knowledge location, and all the buildings were still intact, except for the main house, which had, from what I had heard, burned, leaving nothing but the outer stone wall. Nothing but the outer wall remains, and all the other buildings were torn down since I was there. To more recent urban explorers, it is known as the Stone Castle, and more recently, the Osler Castle. This is the name given by the Heritage Society that has decided to fix it up. When my boyfriend at the time discovered it, he saw it in the distance from a roof he was working on in Oro-Medonte, Ontario. There was, but not anymore, a large barn, a carriage house, and towards the back of the property, a stable. The first weekend we both had off together, we made the hour drive to explore it. The property was absolutely stunning. On top of a hill back from the road, you could almost imagine living surrounded by such beauty, and we did exactly that. The house itself was gone except for the wall, and if you looked in the basement window, you could see an old stove laying amongst the wreckage. You could tell it had been a beautiful home at one time, to whomever owned it. Being the explorer I was, I insisted that we investigate every single corner of every single building that was on the property. And although my ex was less than enthusiastic about it, I insisted. I honestly did not see the point of driving for an hour just to look at the outside of the buildings. No, I had to go in the buildings. The first building we explored was in the barn, both upstairs and down. Down in the basement of the barn is where things went from wow to holy shit really fast. In the basement, it had been used as a place for satanic sacrifices. There was satanic artwork all over, a knife with what appeared to be blood on it, and an altar with black candles, a bottle of what smelled like blood. The most disturbing piece was that whatever satanic group was using it, they had built a makeshift cage out of the silo with chains inside and everything. My boyfriend at the time wanted to get the heck out of there as fast as possible, but I convinced him to stay so we could explore the rest of the buildings on the property. I told him it was probably just a bunch of kids, just screwing around. No big deal, right? Wrong. Our next stop was the stables at the back of the property, and honestly, I was so caught up in my love for exploring that he would not have been able to persuade me to leave without going in every single building, no matter what. I opened the door into the stable and the smell hit me. Rotting flesh, and the entire room was littered with animal corpses, dogs, cats, rabbits, even coyotes and foxes. They had been horribly mutilated. It was absolutely the worst thing I have ever laid my eyes on. As soon as my boyfriend saw that, he grabbed me and said that we were leaving right at that moment, and that killing animals is not stupid kids doing stupid things. This is some serious shit. So we started to leave, but there was one more building I wanted to check on the way out of the carriage house. He said no effing way were we going there and stomped off up the hill back to the main house, assuming I would follow. I didn't follow. I went around the hill by myself and took a quick peek in the carriage house. The carriage house was anticlimactic. It had absolutely nothing in it. It's actually a good thing that I snuck off like I did, because if I hadn't, we wouldn't have seen them coming. They would have been able to sneak up on us as we were coming up the hill and do God knows what to us. The first one I noticed was an adult male, with a baseball bat. He actually had opened our car door and was rifling through things in our car, trying to find a key, I'm guessing. There were about 8 people in total in the group, ranging from adults, I would say in about their 30s, to teens, and children no more than 12 or 13. They all had weapons, golf clubs, sticks, a cane, and baseball bats. I yelled at the guy what the hell he thought he was doing going through our car, and my boyfriend came charging over the hill, bless his heart, right through the posse of creeps and weirdos, who seemed to be lying in wait for us. It appeared that we had ruined whatever plans they had in mind, because they immediately backed off. Some even tried to hide their weapons behind their backs, which was just stupid if you ask me. Who wouldn't notice a baseball bat behind someone's back? Baseball guy demanded to know what we were doing there, and I demanded to know what the hell he thought he was doing in our car. He didn't answer, just looked at me, all nervous. My ex-boyfriend said we were just admiring the architecture of the house, and that we were just leaving, and they let us get into our car and drive off, which in itself was a miracle in light of what we had discovered on the property. They followed us in a black pickup with no plates for a good 20 minutes. Instead of heading for home, we went to the closest city, which was Barrie, Ontario, filed a report with a policeman who seemed more shaken than us, and headed home. My ex never went back to that roofing job again. He had someone else finish it, and he went to another one. I wanted to go back, but after telling people what happened, I couldn't find anyone to go with me. My ex and I continued various explorations, but we both started carrying knives. I still carry one to this day, even when I hike. I have not read of anyone else having similar experiences at Satan's Castle. Recently, my cousin, who also is an explorer, contacted me with a place she wanted to explore. Guess where? And guess what? We have made arrangements to go there in the next couple of weeks. So on that note, and many years later, Satan's Castle cult, let's hope we don't meet again. And to any other urban explorers out there, please be careful. You never know what you might come across in these abandoned places.